because in the mini-map, that team from their north was slowly but surely rotating in. Island instantly grabbed by PeterBot, Ritual, and Cold, just collecting all the medallions yet again. And they're trying to move towards the north. They know teams land over towards this side of the map, and most of these teams are going to be uncontested. And so they're just trying to figure out where they're positioned, looking for Surge. And I think they might have gotten some sense. Maybe not know exactly where they're at, or even if they're full trio, but something here leads you to believe that they saw at least one of these three players on this side of the map.
What a map visual, by the way. Not a single team south or to their east. So the call to go north is definitely the right one right now, whether they caught information or not.
The 𝐒𝐿, and 𝐒𝐷𝐣𝐸, they're just kind of waiting. And this is where I kind of say I don't like fighting at the first order base. There's too many turns, twists, cubbies you can hide in. And so I like what Cold, PeterBot, and Ritual are doing. They're surrounding the position. They're checking everything they can, but they're just not taking too much risk. They know that team, if there is one in there, is going to have to rotate on out eventually. And whether they're waiting there or not, they'll probably cross paths. Glad to see NPen, Zen, and Nut finally in some of these games. I do believe they might have at least 2 eliminations. Yes, they do so far. That's going to be on Zen. And Zen is really taking the community by storm. He's getting a lot of the shine I think he deserves. And I think the cherry on top would be a qualification spot. A little bit of a slow start, though, Monster. 2 games already done and played. They only have 12.6 of those coming from this game alone.
Most definitely. Would that be his first finals on Central? I know he's kind of coming out of this like zone war / like box fight grind, right?
It will be. It would be Zen's first and Nut's second. The experienced NPen. This could be a good confidence boost for them as well going in to Major 3 Grand Finals. They can secure at least one of those spots, whether through Victory Royale or closing out the day with 3 clutch and consistent games. As 𝐸𝐿𝐿, Metro on this side of the map, along with 𝐒𝐷𝐿𝐿, Cyclops. They're just trying to use this Geyser to try to get distance covered as quick as possible, especially since they don't have too many misforms. They don't have the dash sprites. And instead of going for the double, they're just going for that first Geyser. They leave the zone isn't too far away for them to try to make this in one leap.
That was a pretty cool stat to see. This is a team fighting for their first finals. They've been playing very good so far. 61 points, so they're in the conversation right now for that finals slot. I mean, they're doing about as good as 𝐒𝐷𝐿𝐿 here as well. A little bit quiet. They're looking for any sign of life, but nothing just yet. 𝐒𝐷𝐿𝐿 kind of recapping his material here. Being this late into the early game, I'm surprised he's actually not cap material, so a lot of investment into some surge bases being put by that trio there. Meanwhile, Enough playing this ultra height. I've seen this time and time again, Jacob. Same song and dance.
And I like how usually kind of some of these zones teams will kind of rotate directly where they think zone will go, not necessarily where their drop spot is. But Smiley enough, Salt, they land over here towards Shining Span. They saw the zone was kind of hovering over in this direction, and they invested early, immediately building up towards the top. And the thing about the Shining Span Bridge, even though Enough only has 34 builds, you don't have to invest a lot because you could take the railings most of the way up. And since they are contested to start the game, they can kind of do it right out of the gates.
Rocky's team can make a rotate without having to build here. Misforms coming out. That's the one on their heels. Ralphie just landed on someone. I don't know what just happened. Either someone was trailing behind that team, or they either collapsed on someone by the tower there. But Skater's going to be the first to lose a shoot here from Aim Red.
That's really damaged by Aim Red in that opportunity. There's so many more teams making Utopia City their home. Probably get like a 2-bedroom apartment over there, maybe a studio. Either way, the zone's pushing everybody in this favor. And for their sake, not necessarily mine. You know I love destruction. You know I love excitement. But I'm hoping it stays over towards Utopia because it continues to pull towards that eastern side. There's a lot of open water. There's the bridge. There's different elevations. And it does look not just PeterBot, Ritual, and Cold, but even 𝐿𝐷𝐿𝐿, Chance of their trio are positioning on this side of the map early on.
Yeah, it seems like PeterBot's hunting for someone here. Checking all the bushes. Checking this kind of isolated shrine off in the edge here. Just trying to see where is these teams hiding at. But, you know, we saw it best. We saw that map shot. No one kind of went east. Anyone that was there vacated long ago, straight south. 𝐒𝐲𝐳 early positioning here on the mountain. This is definitely key positioning for them right now. Obviously, they're coming out kind of the edge here, so they'll likely be fishing for some damage. But 159, just one little end game from them, and they'll be just fine for finals.
And it's not just their damage that I'm impressed with right now, with how aggressive even PeterBot was in game 1. It's Cam that is the current elimination leader after 2 games with 11 eliminations so far, 2,100 damage. 𝐒𝐲𝐳 is there near the top of the list as well. So they're all kind of playing their part rather perfectly. And I like how they just kind of don't get too aggressive. They don't take too many chances. If they got to stay in zone, sacrifice some HP, they have no problem doing that at all. As PeterBot cold, they might have found him at the edge of the island. 2 different teams here. 𝐒𝐲𝐳 using that exotic pistol. If they ever hit them on the low ground, they will bounce them further away. And for someone like PeterBot who doesn't typically use that miss form, this might be a way to get some early damage or maybe even a fall.
I'm just thinking in my head, surprise, surprise. 𝐶2 and 𝐒𝐲𝐳 have their work cut out for them this weekend. If they want to get to finals, they're going to have to work for it. PeterBot has that high ground right now. Eyes on the prize here. I'm also noticing, like, 𝐶's team has not changed their skin, by the way, game after game. So still rocking that same fit. This is, like, easy spots here for them right now.
He's actually going up. He said, you know what? You want to fight? Let's have it. Goes for the challenge. 𝐶 is there as well. PeterBot closes off on the other distance. He has the medallion, so he's moving just a little bit more fast, a little bit quicker overall, but he gets dropped down. There was that exotic in action. This is where they have a little bit of a 3v2 if they do want to take it, but Cold has been lured around, so his position hasn't been fully revealed yet, so no easy goes for now.
Yeah, Duke lost all his shield there too, so forced on the defensive here. PeterBot back to the high ground. They do have a med miss to play with as well. Meanwhile, that one game we thought Sid and Sineto needed might just be on the line right now. Pay attention, shots coming in from the bush too, so big storylines unfolding everywhere, but give a second. PeterBot back in the action now. Big tag here. Duke super lit up right now. Cold tracking with that shotgun through the wall. Playing excellent right there. PeterBot with the box up, jumps around, puts 𝐒𝐲 down before he can even react there, and this is all starting to unfold now. I mean, 𝐶's the only healthy one here.
Well, he's the only one at all now with his teammate going down. There goes the full wipe. 3 straight eliminations, and all the way from Demon's Domain to Brutal Boxcars to the Last Order to Shining Span to 𝐶𝐈𝐿 Factory. I gotta see the distance traveled in this game, Monster.
I mean, it was very, very clear that they were looking for action. They were moving everywhere across the map. No one giving them a time worth fighting for them. Josh, Griffin, Tyler on the move right now. Another team has to rotate as well. A little protective builds coming down here, but Tunes team's like, nah, bruh. Just don't shoot. Water sucks. We need to get out of it. And everyone
don't make it harder for us both.
Yeah,
That's the type of thing. But it's really also dependent on how much surge, because if the zone pulling north, right? Even though a few teams rotated towards the south, thinking the zone was going to pull in this favor, if not everyone did, they might not necessarily be in the most comfortable position when it comes to that Storm Surge leaderboard. They are getting beat on the punch up the top of the mountain. Storm Surge does appear, maybe I was a little wrong. 611, I think that's more than enough surge for now, and really just focusing on that rotation.
Yeah, they have plenty. 𝐿𝐲𝐳 was thinking about, by the way, lurking out in that bush for a second there, but they saw the zone and they're like, this is going to move pretty quickly and start taking for a lot of damage here. Kind of getting late into things. Also, I'm just noticing their team's actually A rank as well, so getting those passive support, but it's a second right now. Ooh, big tags here from Tyler's trio, so continue to kind of put the pressure on them. This is what happens when you get beat to the punch on the rotate. When you're side by side like that, No, they might have been passive because it made sense, but now look, you gave them enough runway to kind of get ahead of you, and they're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, it's 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒𝐂 and 𝐒𝐲𝐵 there on the other side. Not necessarily performing as well as I think they would up until this point, but started this game with 42 points. Every single game so far, they've been able to achieve some points. And we talk about like lack of tournaments and experience in the lobby. They reached 12 different finals in tournaments this season. That's third most overall, particularly tied with second with Reet, 𝐶𝐈𝐿, and 𝐶𝐈𝐿. Just so far with some of the zones, I don't think it has been favoring them. Then you add in the fact that you run into Cold, PeterBot, and Ritual. That doesn't make the game any bit easier either.
For Sales and Death were a duo just like a couple zones ago, so picking back up Encrypted here, kind of getting back into things from that slow early game start. No surprise that they're below the surge here. I like the use of the laser here in that low ground, but you saw those builds come down and Encrypted just took so much damage.
Kind of both sides in a rough spot. This side of the map. This is probably the farthest pool in the lobby. Maybe one other team has it as well, but they're very, very quick to try to get on out of there. And then you add in the fact that you're 68 below the damage threshold. So yeah, you monster, you might want to focus on rotating towards the zone, but 68 below, you don't want that surge to activate and start taking that 25 damage every couple of seconds or so. Even if other teams can't see it, you're being affected by it. They will hear that shield crack, and they will get a sense of it as you start to play aggressive.
Things from Reet's perspective is they're picking up some Eland right now, and like we said, just throw that first game out, act like it didn't happen. We're starting to heat up right now. Gavin Sales can't catch a break here. Sales is gonna fall, has to be left behind. Multiple players in their vicinity. Dash Bobs come out here to try to keep them in, but what a shot! Just shuts down Death, who, by the way, had some HP there too. It wasn't like he was super weak. Had a little something, so that was a crazy hit. PeterBot, Ritual Cold kind of reap the rewards here. These weakened teams right now.
I was trying to count how many teams, like 3 or 4 possible teams, all just kind of fired off in unison in that direction, basically leaving no chance at survival. Caliber, Aaron, and Fred, they've done a good job in this early game. They got 4 eliminations. You saw above the damage threshold before it does deactivate. And they're not too far away from the current zone. So for them at this stage in the game, they just need to continue to outlast some of these teams. Top 16, 1 team went down. That's placement points 4-2. And every other that does go down as well, those placement points will start to cascade in. You see Curve, Tyler going down the side of that mountain, trying to use the natural cover of that mountain to shield where they're at.
You know what? They're still in this right now. Holding on right now. As a 2-man operation, still earning points here, Jacob. Pretty impressive, to say the least. They just need about roughly 30 points or so, right? And they'll be pretty much qualified.
Yeah, they've already passed the 2 NA Central group stage totals for the top 5 consistency cutoff. I think be safe, exactly what you're saying. Maybe reach that EU group stage mark just to make sure that you have nothing to worry about at the end of the day. As PeterBot, Cold, Ritual, they're trying to build up, steal away the high from one side of the zone to the other. They're just trying to make sure that they cement their position in the cloud so no team has a chance to challenge them. And rightfully so, they're using that misform because look at Cold's inventory. Yes, he might have the weaponry. Yes, he might have the Chug Jug, but only 22 builds. If this breaks out into a fight for height, I'm not sure they can hold it.
Refresh is on the menu here. Hurley, Reet, and Cooper, though, playing a nice little kind of mid-ground layer so far. No one really giving them a problem, so they've got a lot of time to work with. Information being gathered right here. This is cutting straight through the Utopia City, so things are going to get a little dicey right now if you're on the low ground. PeterBot, Ritual, and Cold are going to have a lot of options picked from right here. Tons of fresh builds are going to have to start to come through for teams that need to elevate up and over. There goes that refresh we were knowing that they needed. Oh my gosh, that guy had nothing, by the way. He picked up like 50 builds that were just generated from the elimination. Talk about unlucky for a second there.
No material, no mobility for him to get back on up, and that might have been a mistake. He went to the backside of zone, and now he has to drop everything. There's no med miss smoke for 𝐂𝐲 to get the revive. A disastrous mistake. I don't think anybody in a million years would think that type of thing would happen to PeterBot, and we're seeing it all really play out. He's just going after the elimination onto 𝐶urly. He shockwaves himself. Oh no. Who would have thought, Monster? The only way to take down PeterBot is PeterBot himself.
Yeah, you know, kryptonite, as they say. Unfortunate there. Everyone makes mistakes. You know, this is the time to kind of get it out the way, right? Get kind of these grooves, as they say, ironed out here for the finals weekend to come. Curve still popping off right now. He's going to take down Zen, shutting down things for them. Ritual still has a chance here with 𝐂𝐲, though. They got high ground. They got plenty to work with. Saw 𝐂𝐲 pick up those materials, so this is still big. We've been here before. 𝐂𝐲 is going to be the one that's going to have to go down with that misform to go in and pick up those maps the same way he did for PeterBot just moments ago. Aaron, FredBot, and 𝐶𝐈𝐿, though, this is a great game for them. You know, they were kind of counted out after falling a little early in one of these rounds earlier, but talk about getting online right now. Big placing points, plenty of elimination as well, and Sid just clutching up for Sidnetto and Cam right now. First it was as a 2, now as a solo. Caught out, though, by Reet, 𝐶𝐿𝐲, and Cooper here.
Yeah, another top 9 game for them. Hopefully that might be good enough to push themselves at least over the 200 point mark. But 𝐶𝐿𝐲, Reet, Cooper, 123 points, 7 eliminations. Immediately use that misform to get to the front side of zone. Ritual up top by himself. You said it yourself. 𝐂𝐲 is going to be the one that goes on the hunt, trying to bring up resources to try to hold on to their position. As Ritual not only finds 1 elimination, but he gets a second one onto 𝐒𝐲. Even with 𝐂𝐲 getting aggressive, this might be a chance to send him to try to pick the scraps that are going to be left behind.
That's the one team he's got to look out for. It's actually Reet's trio, fully healthy and dangerous, ready to fight here. Ritual comes down to back up 𝐂𝐲. This is super interesting. I mean, they're truly trying to fight their way to a victory right now, but it's going to come down to taking down 𝐂𝐲's or Cooper's trio here. Fred, Aaron, and 𝐶𝐈𝐿 haven't quite made the move yet. They're probably just waiting for that top 3 placement points to kind of come through here. The refresh, they're reset, they're healthy, and kind of ready to go now. Here it is. Other teams misformed to the high ground, so Reet's got control of it. 𝐂𝐲 doesn't want to give it up. He kind of fights back, putting on a little bit of resistance there, but Ritual immediately folded over. He didn't want to do that.
Really going for scraps right now. 𝐂𝐲 is going crazy, just trying to land some haymaker shots, letting Ritual stagger himself to the backside of the zone, but the heal off for him started way too early. None left to back pocket, forced down low to the low ground. 𝐂𝐲 finally goes down. That one's going to be cleaned up, but Ritual still trying to hold strong. The only solo left alive in this game in a world full of trios, up, down, left, right. He has to make a decision. He fakes out towards the high ground, goes down towards the bottom, 50 HP or less, and now he's getting forced outside of zone until the inevitability happens. He goes down. The elimination gets cleaned up, but Reet, Cooper, 𝐶𝐿𝐲, they realize only 2 teams left. One of them stuck to the outside of the zone. The men miss smoke. That's a huge sign of weakness as they're trying to start to heal off early. 𝐶𝐿𝐲 realizes it's now or never. He dives to the backside of zone, and it's not even needed because Reet, Cooper, and 𝐶𝐿𝐲, they clutch up when it matters in game 3 to book their ticket on that battle bus.
Very, very nicely done. Just a slow rolling train. Once they picked the momentum, though, they couldn't be stopped. After that, game 1, game 2 was great. Game 3 now sealing the victory royale. You know what? I want to give credit to Ritual, too. Very calculated decisions by him to try to focus high ground, trying to see if he could bait the low ground team, you know, pull the trigger a